Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Springer. I'm from Noblesville, Indiana. I currently am the assistant pastor at White Rock Fellowship, and I am also employed at Indiana Wesleyan University in our enrollment office. So, I wanted to take some time to give you my thoughts and perspective on the book You Are What You Love and why I believe the author wrote the book. I think it really goes back to the title itself, You Are What You Love. And it goes to our core, really. I think if you, look at what people say they love and what they actually love, that there are two different things there. Especially if you look at, let's say, one's checkbook. Um, you know, I if you looked at my checkbook, you'd probably see that I love Taco Bell and I love McDonald's. That was before having my heart issue and needing to have another stent. Now things have changed, and I guess you could say that I love healthier foods based off of what I have been purchasing recently. But it doesn't really go to that. It really goes down to what we do on a daily basis. And I think the way that the world looks at things is quite different than a Christian looks at things. However, um, the world plays a part on what the what a Christian does and what happens to them. Paul wrote in Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I think that that has a key point to it. The fact that if we allow the world to transform us, then we are not allowing God to work in our lives. And we are showing that we love more things of the world than we actually do of what God states and what God requires of us to do and how he requires us to be. So I think it all goes back to the renewing of your mind, and that takes training, it takes practice, and I think that's what the author was trying to get across to us was that going back and looking at your life and maybe even writing down specifically things that you do out of habit that you fall back onto. It's those kind of things that provide the opportunity for you to slip further and further away, and by retraining your mind and not allowing yourself to conform to the world, you have the ability to truly follow Christ the way he desires you to follow him. Smith wrote, and it's one of the quotes that we can utilize. If you are what you love, and love is a habit, then discipleship is a rehabilitation of your loves. And I think that's key, because if you're wanting to follow Christ and you're wanting to take that next step, then you need to be a disciple of Christ. You need to drop everything and just get in line and follow and be right there with him. It's not easy, but it's if you think that you're wanting to give up everything, well, you're not really giving up anything, because everything that you have and everything that you own was given by God. It was given by Jesus Christ when he died on the cross. And so everything you own and everything that you have and that you are is from God. And so you're not really giving up anything of your own. You're giving up the way you desire to be, which I guess could be of your own, but you're providing God that opening to transform your life and to really look at the specifics. So, in the book, he talked about the mall, and there was another quote within there. It says, the point is that the tenets of a consumer gospel are caught rather than taught. The ideals are carried in the practices, not disseminated through messages. So I agree with that, but yet I disagree with that. That they're caught, not taught. I think a lot of my vices, I'm a big shopper, unfortunately, which is really bad. I think a lot of that was actually taught to me. I saw my mother do it, and I followed in her footsteps whenever things would go bad, or I wasn't feeling the greatest about myself. I would go out and splurge and buy myself something, which would get me into trouble and make me feel worse about myself. So what would I do? I would go out and buy something. So I think there are some of these that are taught to us and not really caught on our own. Now, I do believe that we make them our own. The things that I buy are different than the things that my mother bought. But I do think some of the examples that are out there are ones that we see and that we latch onto. But a lot of it is, I believe, taught to us through our parents and how they raised us and where we are, in relationship to how we were raised. As far as looking at this and taking it a step further and how we can work it, I think a lot of it is. It starts with our children, and I'm not sure of those out there, of you out there who have children and what ages they are, but I've got a 20-year-old daughter that's in college, and I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old son and daughter, and I think a lot of what they do now, they are learning from me, and they some of it is good, but there are a lot of bad habits that I am showing them, that I'm providing to them, that I need to start working now, because otherwise they're not going to, when they grow up, they're going to have a lot of loves that are not of this world. They're going to have, the love of doing things right all the time, and the perfectionist, and the desire to be the best at what you do, and the desire to have that new electronic gadget. And it's not all about that. And so I need to make sure that, right now I'm taking control of the issue, and I'm actually going back and sitting down with them and having those conversations and showing them the specific verses in the Bible that will allow them to understand that what everything that's going around them and what they see of their friends and other people that live around us, that isn't the way that Christ wants us to live, and that we need to focus on his specific goals. And I think that's the key to this book, is we need to look at Christ's goals as he lived, and look at catching those and taking those on as our own, and living those. So that's my summary of the book so far. I did really like it. I really enjoyed it. I talked with a colleague at work about it, and just got some additional insight from him as well. But I look forward to this class. I look forward to learning from each of you, and hope you guys have a great day. God bless.